All right. I believe I'm live. Hello. Welcome to maybe the first or maybe the last GM philosophy afternoon coffee break. This is basically a live stream, unplanned, sort of running as a test to see if I want to do these. Um, if anyone is out there in YouTube land, feel free to drop me a comment and let me know if you can even see this. See if I'm actually connected to the internet. Okay. Smink Singsura said howdy, howdy. So apparently I am connected to the internet at least, at least a little bit. Good afternoon. I plan to be here for about 15 minutes, taking a coffee break. Oh yeah, heck yeah. Thank you, Smink. I appreciate that. So basically, gonna take my coffee break. Unfortunately, I used my time setting up this live stream that I would have spent brewing a cup of coffee. I've already finished my cup of coffee from this morning. So boom, we're here sans coffee. So it's gonna have to be the quality of the companionship that keeps me awake through the next portion of the day. And so here's what I kind of had planned for this. I kind of have planned that if I run these, it would be like basically a daily 1 p.m. coffee break where I do live stream and there's no like predetermined set topic. What I would do is react to comments and talk about something that someone brings up in the comments. Maybe like the first comment that really grabs my attention that is about a topic, I'll just jump into it and we could have a little bit of back and forth, sort of like, you know, chime in, jump in, have a chill moment in the day where we can 1 p.m. CSC. Yes, okay. Smink, that's actually a valid statement because there are a lot of time zones, and it is 1 p.m. in my time zone. Let me know what time it is in yours, because it might be true that 1 p.m. isn't a great time for coffee break. Actually, drop me a comment if anyone's watching this. I think I've got a couple people watching now. Let me know what time you think would be best to do a morning coffee break live stream. It's afternoon for me, actually, so it's not even morning anymore. But the idea would be I would talk about a topic brought up by a commenter and basically see, what they would like to talk about. I'm not totally sure. Oh yeah, the internet is global, that's for sure. So I'm not totally sure, what or if this is going to turn into anything. I have in my mind that I would really love at some point to do like live shows. I love the idea of like a morning show, and I kind of do that. I do a 6 a.m. morning show every morning on my channel. However, I love the idea of like sort of like a live show at some point. I really do love that idea. So I'm thinking about doing that, but basically, what I was doing today was I was going through in my Discord channel. John Haney won the 2-page dungeon crawl content creation contest. Hey, Ted, how's it going? Hello to you too. And I was going through the dungeon. I really enjoy your content. I have a very calming voice. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that. I try to be a calming person. I try to have a calming voice. I try to remain calm, as they say. But I was going through a dungeon content creation contest winner 2-page dungeon crawl with hand-drawn artwork. Now, tomorrow morning, I'm dropping that video. So do not miss out on that because you're going to want to see John Haney's creation, and you're going to be able to download it in the link. Oh, there's John Haney. Live could be cool if you did like guests and stuff. I would love to have guests, actually. That would be super awesome. I've had on, I think, one guest in the past. I think I had William on, and that's the only guest I have had. With that being said, on this topic of dungeons, okay, I think that dungeons used to be overdone. And I think that now dungeons are underutilized. I think that more and more we've gotten into this idea where it's like, well, Dungeons and Dragons, but dungeons just means an adventure. I kind of think we should do more dungeons. I think there should be more dungeon crawls. I don't feel like my group does quite enough dungeon crawls, to be super honest. I feel like I don't run enough dungeons. And let me know what you think about that. So here's the thing about it. You don't have to base your whole game on dungeons. Like, you don't have to base your whole game on running dungeons. But what you can do is make sure that you incorporate dungeons, and like maybe make dungeons like always an adventure that your group is moving toward or looking forward to. So like if let's say you're running a campaign where your adventurers are looking for this collection of artifacts, it's like, well, they're always in these dungeons. So between dungeons there's a lot of other stuff, but then there are dungeons. Or you could make it to where it's like they work for a guild, and then they're going to dive into the contracts they're offered, and the contracts always send them into dungeons. And then you have a bunch of different types of dungeons. And I just find that dungeons generally tend to be underutilized, I think, in D&D. I feel like I should run more of them is basically what we come down to. I don't know how many GMs are running dungeons a lot, actually. um, John says, looking forward to the video. Dungeons are awesome. I love the idea that a location tells a story. That's one thing Skyrim did really well. Yeah, Skyrim dungeons. Skyrim is just such an epic game. I haven't played Skyrim for it's probably been 3 years, because at one point I gave up video games. Like, I basically gave my Xbox to my kids, and then I kind of stopped playing video games on Xbox, with the exception of playing some League of Legends. And the reason that I did that was because I kind of felt like I didn't have time for it anymore. With that being said, I do find that about twice a week I have time to play a game of League of Legends. And that's about all the video games I play nowadays. Smink says, I love the concept of dungeons and their reflection of a historical purpose, like a temple, castle, ritual site, or prison. It helps set the tone for what you might expect to see for a decoration. Yeah. So temple, castle, ritual site, prison. I feel like those are pretty awesome dungeon concepts. And I always feel like there's a question of, is the dungeon serving the purpose right now it was meant to serve? Like, if you're dungeon diving into a prison, is it a prison right now? Or was it a prison? And has it been commandeered by like a lich or an evil wizard? And it's like, old. And the reason nobody goes there is because it's kind of forgotten about, I think, is like a good question to ask for a dungeon crawl. Um, John says, yeah, I don't play a lot anymore. Did a lot before I had kids, though. Pretty much all my energy is geared toward TTRPGs now. Yeah, that's, I feel like, how I am, because TTRPGs offer a lot more than just like entertainment. It's also community and creativity. Whereas with video games, I feel like creativity is like less, and community is definitely less. I used to do like clans and stuff for Modern Warfare back when I played video games. Like, we had Halo clans and Modern Warfare clans, and that was pretty social. However, that takes up a lot of time, and I feel like I don't really have time to do that kind of thing these days. The community built around TTRPGs seems to be smoother in terms of community building. And so I think that I would say the quality of the community is higher when I am basing it around TTRPGs than when I'm basing it around video games. With that being said, it is really fun to jump on with a couple friends and play some League of Legends. I've thought about streaming my League of Legends, because like, I'm not very good at it. I just got done with my ranking for the season, and I just got placed, and I'm in Iron 3. So it's like I play top lane and support usually. And so I don't know if I have any kind of future streaming League of Legends. I just think it's a lot of fun. And I think it might be fun to stream. And I think people would just talk smack to me and tell me how I don't know what I'm doing, which is not altogether wrong. And there might be a fun element to that, I think. Um, Smink says, most of my downtime is spent dreaming of the next setup for my next session and building the next steps for the campaign. Ran a game last night, actually. Okay. Smink, what kind of game are you running? And what was your adventure like last night? I would love to hear about that, actually. I know that's kind of a lot to type, but if you could find a way to drop a little bit of that for us, that'd be super cool. I would love to hear about that. I actually love hearing about people's games. Sometimes I think to myself, I'd love to find a way to integrate like bringing people on to the channel channel to tell stories, because one of the funnest things about D&D or TTRPGs is listening to the stories that people have to say about it. I think that it's like everyone who plays D&D or any TTRPG basically has like a treasure trove of all these wild stories of things that have happened while they've been playing, or like when they're playing, or something that happened at one point in their games, whatever. And it's always so wild. And there's a question in my mind of, um do other people enjoy hearing D&D stories as much as I do? Because sometimes I think maybe I enjoy that more than most people. I don't know if most people find it boring to listen to other people's D&D stories. Let me know what you think. Drop me a comment and let me know if you think that listening to other people's D&D stories is boring or not. Because there's a part of me that would love to like take some videos in my channel in that direction, like dedicated to maybe collecting and telling D&D stories from people's games. Because there's also an element of like when you play a D&D game, you're creating intellectual art, and there's an element of it that's kind of like Burning Man. Like once you create it, it's like it just goes to the ether, and it's not like captured or preserved in any serious way. But then if you can capture a little bit of it and preserve it, that's like a cool thing. I kind of think that's a good thing to do and a cool thing. I kind of wish people would make books of their adventures, though that's like a lot of work. I think it's fun when people like record their adventures on like YouTube or something. Jonathan says, I love hearing other people's stories. Okay, awesome. John also said, it's gaming, it's hanging out, it's creativity, it's storytelling, it's stress relief, it's art, it's problem solving. TTRPGs have so many benefits besides just being a hobby or game. Absolutely, that's how I feel about it. Smink said, 5e D&D. Okay, this is in reference to my question about what kind of game. 5e D&D, mining complex collapse and rescue. Main mystery monster is an Umber Hulk, mutated with intelligence and calculated malevolence. It intentionally destroyed supports to trap prey in the tunnels. Ooh, that's pretty awesome, actually. So it sounds like kind of an underground thing. John says that would be dope. Maybe a session story of the week type episode celebrating good moments. That could totally be a good idea. Absolutely. Luan says, I like hearing horror D&D stories. Okay, nice. Nashcraft, howdy folks. Howdy to you, Nashcraft. Great to have you. Yeah, so there's a beauty in the way that when we create art with D&D, we enjoy it in the moment, but then it sort of goes. It's like lost to the ether. And then what we have are the memories of that moment. And I'm a firm believer in the fact that playing D&D isn't all fake and make believe, because there are a lot of emotions that we experience that are very real, and we have real experiences with real people. So it's like you may not actually be like a wizard who's traveling with a druid and a cleric on an epic quest to slay a dragon. Technically, like you might not actually be that. But if you do it in a really good game of D&D with two of your friends who are role playing those characters and with a GM, then you have an experience that is actually very real, right? So it's not real in the sense that you're actually there doing it, but you are having an experience where you are enjoying some of the challenges and emotional things that go on with that, associated with that. And so what you are embarking on is something between make believe and reality, right? So it is not altogether just nothingness. It's not a complete absence of the experience. There's a little bit of real in there because you feel it and you experience it with other people, and you can recount it through memory, right? So it's kind of like a dream, but it's with other people, right? Uh, but then it's not like real. We can't, reach out and touch the dragon when we're playing D&D. It's more like our character reaches out to touch the dragon. So it's just an interesting art form, actually. Hey, Prophet Troll, how's it going? Smink says the burrowing and being trapped in the environment of the Umber Hulk, who acts more like a predator from the movies, targeting worthy targets, and my players are low level enough for it to be deadly. Oh yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. Nashcraft says, anyone here playing Shadow Dark? I'm not currently playing Shadow Dark, but I'm not sure if anyone else is. John says, if stories aren't real, why do I cry like a baby every time Sam carries Frodo up Mount Doom? Well, that's a good point, actually. Prophet Roll says, because Sam is awesome. Sam is awesome. High key metal. And I also kind of feel like when you read the books, that whole thing, they did it really great in the movies, but it wasn't quite as good as in the books. There were some pretty awesome things in the books that are hard to reproduce on screen. I feel like that's always the case, isn't it? Prophet or Nashcraft says a shared psych sphere. Yeah, that is kind of like what it is. John says true. Prophet roll going. Okay, thanks. Great to see you live. Hey, you too. Have a great one. Looking forward to our next session. Prophet roll. Thank you very much for stopping by. John says, I want to Nashcraft. I'll be switching soon. I'll be running it every now and then on the Discord starting January. Heck yeah. The great question, Conan or Aragorn. The story of Conan is so metal. I love Conan the Barbarian. As for one thing is that if you mean Conan or Aragorn as in the warriors, like who would win in a combat between the two of them? I don't actually know the answer. I don't actually know the answer to that. But the movie Conan with Arnold Schwarzenegger, so watching it now is a little bit strange because it is a little bit dated, but there's so many awesome moments in it, and there's so many awesome there's so many awesome things he says, like when that quote that's like, Conan, what is best in life? I'm gonna look up that quote. That Arnold Schwarzenegger in the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. In the movie Conan the Barbarian, Arnold Schwarzenegger's character Conan replies to the question of what is best in life with this iconic quote: to crush your enemies, to see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of the women. I think that's one of my favorite quotes from any movie. With that being said, watching the Arnold Schwarzenegger Conan movie is interesting because that movie made huge inroads for fantasy. And it was such a a pivotal movie for fantasy movies, but watching it now, it is really dated and it's a little bit hard to watch, I feel like, and take it seriously. Whereas obviously Lord of the Rings was filmed in a time when I think fantasy genre was more established. And so it's more of a timeless film than the original Conan was. That's just kind of my opinion, actually. Nashcraft says, Conan does a lot of philosophy in the works, comparing barbarianism versus civilization versus savagism. Yeah, absolutely. I have not read Conan, which I actually probably should, or at least listen to the audiobook. Weird to think Howard and Tolkien are contemporaries, basically. Yeah. Well, I think the same thing was true with C.S. Lewis. C.S. Lewis and Tolkien were basically contemporaries. So you have the whole, kind of Narnia thing. That whole universe is sort of alongside in that similar timeline. Nashcraft says Conan is D&D mining gold. Yeah, no, totally. Anyway, all right. Well, hey guys, that's going to pretty much wrap up my time for coffee break. I have to get back to work, but thank you so much for joining me. Drop me a comment. Let me know if you think I should do this on a daily basis or something. I don't know if that would be a cool thing, but I might do that. I love the idea of doing that. So let me know what you think. Thank you so much for coming by and hanging out with me. Hey, I'm here every day creating content about the best game in the world, D&D, or maybe in the future, other types of systems too. Someone mentioned in this chat, it wasn't in this chat. It was in a comment in my video, maybe looking into Critical Role's new system, Daggerheart. I might do some content about Daggerheart coming up. Which might be actually super cool. Actually, I've watched a little bit of content about that, so that might be interesting. But anyway, shabam. Dalton says, do I do this often? This is actually the first time, and I'm thinking about doing it on a daily basis, but I'm not super cool if I'm going to or not. I'm kind of waiting to see basically waiting to see what kind of response I get. I might try it a few times and see if it kind of catches on and if it's useful and good. And if people like it and enjoy it and would enjoy it, well, then I would definitely enjoy it. So I may do it. So that's kind of what it is. Anyway, all right. Have a great day at work, everyone. Have a great day doing whatever you're doing. Roll some D100s for me. I will catch you on the flip side.